to another episode of Off the Record with the Tacoma Ledger. We got a great one for you today. The best one that we've done. Take it away, Jamenson.
We're going to talk about seasonal blues, guys. Sorry for the thumbs up.
It's the thumbs up.
Super cringe. Sorry. I show my age that way. Let's see. So, seasonal blues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sad.
First thoughts. Yes, sad. First thoughts.
I think living in Washington State, you're kind of predestined to have at least a little bit of seasonal affective disorder. Or SAD, as I really like to call it, because I think the acronym's funny.
I've heard that.
I think this is something that impacts a lot of people, whether they're students or faculty members or community members. We all kind of deal with this in some way, and if we don't, someone we know deals with this in some way. So just be really aware. It's real, and it's definitely a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, I don't think I've ever really experienced it, to be honest. But like you said, I think I know people that go through it. I know plenty of people that go through it, actually. So it is in my life, at least indirectly that way. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to be the person that doesn't go through that, to be honest. To be fully, open about that. Because it's kind of like, I guess I'm wired different, and you don't want to say that like as a religious type of thing, you know what I mean? But it's just not the card I was dealt, I guess.
You gotta frame it as FOMO.
Not FOMO, for really? For SAD? I don't think anyone should have a fear of missing out on seasonal affective disorder.
I don't.
Really not missing out at all.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But surprisingly enough, we were talking a little before we recorded, but then it's like the statistic is that 5% of adults have seasonal blues that can last up to 40% of the year, according to Mental Health America.
Mm-hmm. And that's like 4.5 months.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that it starts at different times.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, for me, it depends on the year. Like, for me, I have a year that, like, will feel like, oh, this is a Halloween year, or, oh, this is, like, a Christmas year. And I feel like that's what kind of defines when my seasonal depression kind of starts. So sometimes it'll start mid-October and last till, like, the end of February. Sometimes it'll start beginning of November and then go until, like, the middle of March. So it really just kind of depends on what kind of year it's already been for me.
Yeah. But I think, is it also, like, there's hills and valleys to it, too, right? Like, you come up and down with it. Is there a point where it's just kind of like you wake up, oh, it's a normal day, as far as we know, right? Like, and for you, obviously, this is normal is different for other people, but, you know what I mean? It's normal for you, like, oh, I don't feel that today, type of thing.
I think once the sun starts coming out again, and, like, more regularly, and it's also not borderline freezing outside, because obviously the sun does come out during winter. Contrary to popular belief, it does not rain all the time. But, like, even just, like, the weather being cold can really have an impact. So, like, once it's, like, we're getting into, like, maybe, like, low 60s, and it starts getting really sunny, and, like, we have more consistency with the sun, I feel like is when it really starts to, like, dissipate.
Like, is there hills and valleys for it?
That's a tough answer, because I think there's always so much more going on. I think for me, the holidays are particularly difficult, because there is so much going on, and because there are so many people that experience holidays in so many different ways, and I'm a little bit sensitive to people who have holiday-specific depression or feel a lot of pressure to provide or pressure to do more around the holidays, and that generates a lot of concern in me, especially this particular holiday season when so many people who should be home with their families are not, for political reasons or for other related reasons. But that sort of climate weighs really heavily on me. And then I think outside of holiday blues and outside of like the awareness that comes with being involved in policy and being involved in like economic philosophy and stuff, that sort of a guilt follows holidays. Other than that, I do think like there's that springtime moment where you come outside and it's nice and it's been a little bit nicer and your friends are sitting outside. And like, for me, one of the big things that lifts my mood is when I come outside and I walk down the hill and there's students sitting outside, like at the cafe, and students sitting out on the grass. Then I'm like, yeah, we're out of it now. It's over now.
We've escaped.
We've made it through another winter.
So, I mean, I think there's plenty of signs, right, for both. Another thing I found interesting was that, so there was another statistic that I wanted to throw out there. It says that nearly 9 in 10 U.S. adults say something causes them stress during the holiday season. And 58% of those said spending too much money was the biggest one.
That would be a big one. And I can see, especially this year, how it would be, honestly, like, even worse. The economy is kind of in a rough spot right now. And it's like, there's so much, like, consumerism surrounding, like, holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving and, like, Black Friday. It's like, oh, everyone does their shopping and, like, spends so much money. That's, like, always a big thing. That's not something that necessarily changes from year to year. But I feel like getting too wrapped up in that consumerism is really just, that's just gonna continue adding to your stress and just make your life feel even more difficult as winter continues. Because it's like, then you're just going into the holidays broke, and that's not going to help your stress levels at all.
I used to be adamant about not spending any money during the holidays. I was like in protest because I was like, I'm against consumerism so hard, and I don't want to contribute to it. But I was like, they're not going to miss out because I'm not the one going. You know, the stores aren't going to miss out. But then at the same time, as the years went by, I started thinking, I was like, but this is my chance to get something that I really need, or that someone I know really needs. So I started kind of looking into that. Well, I gotta take advantage. You gotta take advantage sometimes of what you can get, because they're not gonna give it to you for free, and they're gonna upcharge you the rest of the year. So you gotta take advantage. But I'm not surprised that spending money is the biggest thing. But specifically when it comes to like seasonal blues, what would you say the main thing is that like affects, just like you said, just the weather? Is just that, or the holidays looming? Is it like?
I think it's honestly a combination of so many factors. I know for me in particular, I have like health problems that worsen during the winter. So like my symptoms for that will get really bad. And that's a major contributor to how I'm obviously feeling. So like as my physical health feels like it's declining, my mental health is going to also decline. Because I can't do all the same things I would during the other seasons. Like, I love to be active and go outdoors and do all sorts of, like, really fun outside activities during the summer. But once it hits fall and winter, it's just, like, I don't feel like I even have the ability to do those things anymore, because I, like, walk around in, like, constant pain and, like, constant fatigue. It's like I don't have the energy to do the things that would bring me more joy.
The Mental Health America also said that it's usually people between 20 and 30 that really feel this the most. Obviously, there's people that are younger that can feel it, who are older than that can feel it. But that, to me, was interesting. So the 20 to 30-year adults are really feeling this the heaviest.
Wait, does that mean I won't feel it this year?
No, we'll see.
I'm ready.
Well, you're still aged in. You
yeah,
gotta be 31.
I'm still aged in. I'm 31.
Yeah, you'll be cured next year.
You gotta be 31.
So close.
Hopefully. We'll see. But, I mean, does that have to do with upbringing maybe? And that's just something that I thought about when I saw the statistic of, like, what does age really have to do with it? So that's another factor that we have to take into consideration. Like, what year you were born. What was there when you... Because when I was born, growing up in the 90s, we didn't have phones.
I was just going to say that is the biggest factor. That group of between 20 and 30
we didn't
with
have
phones.
We didn't have the internet. in that sense. I remember when they talked about the internet, and then finally we bought a computer. I remember that for sure. And then, yeah, I spent more time on that. But at that point, it was just more of like people were still discovering the internet and stuff like that. But then I think I got out of high school, finally stuff really started moving. And then the phone started getting way better. And now so the smartphone started coming out. So I don't remember that experience at all. I remember when I got the smartphone. But it didn't, like, depress me. Like, for doom scrolling that we don't, now there's a word for that, you know, and stuff like that. So I don't even know if I was doing that stuff, but it wasn't, like, the blues never affected me in that way.
Yeah, and I think, like, my upbringing, is pretty similar to yours. I was an adult before I had a phone. And I had to, between that time, figure out coping strategies for my depression that were not doom scrolling or online shopping or any of those things that kids these days have access to. And it's not just kids these days, it's like anyone. But in particular, before you've built up sort of that resilience or that, like, tolerance to the chaos and the weight of just having a life in the 21st century, there is a lot less resistance to doom scrolling patterns and to the instant gratification of buying something for yourself and then having it come the next day.
I remember that feeling. It was a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
No lie, it's a good feeling.
It's good enough to keep you from working on yourself, which I think is one of the biggest issues.
I got my first smartphone at age 14.
Sweet.
Yeah, my parents did try to actually put it off. Like, I got one of those, like, sliding phones before I got a smartphone. But then they gave my younger sister a smartphone, so they're like, okay, we have to give her a smartphone too, obviously. Don't ask me how that logic works. I don't know how she got a smartphone before I did.
She should have got your phone.
Objectively,
you should have got the
yes, that's how that should have worked. Especially considering she's 2 years younger than me. It's like, it's like... So, I was 14, she was 12. It's like, I feel like that's such a, like, transitional period in any kid's life. Yeah. Like, you're going through adolescence, going through puberty, hormones are changing. It's really easy during that time to develop addictions. Because your hormones are all over the place, your mood's all over the place. And it's like, that can be, I mean, that's not even just linked to potential mental health problems. That's linked to just the physical changes your body is going through. So, for me, it's like, I didn't develop necessarily a phone addiction, probably until, like, college, and I spent a lot more time isolated, but I definitely should not have had the access to technology that I had when I did, because I don't think that is beneficial for any kid in terms of self-esteem, or mood, anything. I think it can be really harmful. It's also really harmful for attention spans. I see that in the kids in my classroom right now where I'm student teaching. It's just like, their attention span feels non-existent. And like, they're 9 and 10-year-olds and they have smartphones. I'm just like, why? Who let you have these things?
Reading. Reading, I think, is what helped me.
I also spent a lot of time reading, including during my adolescence, and I think that's what, like, kind of staved off the phone addiction for so long.
I also read a lot.
High five.
Yes.
High five. I actually recently imposed screen time restrictions on my own phone because I'm just like, I need to spend less time on this thing because this is, like, not helping me in any way. It's like, this is ruining my brain. I think more people need to be aware of, like, what technology does to their brain.
Yeah.
Because it's not beneficial in most ways.
It can exacerbate the seasonal blues.
Yeah.
Blues in general, but especially during the season, if you know it's coming. I think people that do feel it, maybe, is there an anticipation for it, maybe? What do you think? Right?
Is there an anticipation of seasonal depression
is it? So it's kind of like, it's coming.
Yes.
Like, so you just expect it.
Yes. I do think so. I think that is both good and bad. If you are not self-aware or if you struggle with motivation to change things in your life, then that can be a period of hyperfixating on the dread that you know is coming and spiraling into it. But I think if you are a little bit more familiar with your patterns and what it feels like when that is setting in, you can then actively plan, okay, I'm starting to feel it, so I'm going to need to schedule more outings. I'm going to need to get my my vitamin D lamp out of the closet and turn it back on, like, for myself. I'm going to need to force myself to eat more often and make sure that I'm taking care of myself, make sure that I'm reaching out to people to prevent myself from getting lonely. So there's like good and bad to knowing in advance that it's coming. It's just all kind of how
I wonder how people actually do that. It's kind of like you have seasonal allergies, right?
Yes.
Every like spring or summer, people have that.
I prep for my depressive cycles like doomsday preppers prep for the end of the world. I know it's coming. I know exactly what I have to do. I got my depression go bag ready. Mm-hmm. We're ready. Yeah. We're ready for winter.
I didn't have allergies until after COVID.
Interesting.
That's when I started getting I would think those allergies every season now. And so I have to go prepare. I have to go get Allegra or whatever medicine.
Gotta stock up before everyone else buys it all.
Exactly. Because I've shown up too late. It's all gone. Like, oh no.
No.
Like,
gotta go to Costco and get the Costco size packs.
You end up having to get, I end up having to buy NyQuil or Dayquil and stuff. Because, it's not supposed to. It's for a cold, but you gotta do what you gotta do at this point to get that in there. So yeah, I would assume that people do prepare, but I could be wrong about that. I mean, how many people actually prepare?
I think it goes back to what Ray said about, like, self-awareness. If you know about yourself that, yes, I have seasonal depression, or maybe just that, oh, my depression symptoms get so much worse during the winter, because sometimes it's not even just seasonal depression. Sometimes it is just exacerbated regular depression.
Yeah.
If you know that about yourself, obviously you can prepare. Sometimes, though, it's like you're self-aware, and then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, oh, I know this is going to happen, and then you don't do the things you need to prepare, and then you just, like, end up just being a sad sack on your couch for, like, a week at a time, and then you're just like, maybe I need to go do this to go solve my problem, but I don't have the energy. I'm not going to go do that. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing.
And then 4 months pass, and then it's springtime.
Yeah. Which for some people works, but, like, for people who do just have generalized depression, it's like you're just making things so much worse for yourself if you're not actively doing the work to, like, help yourself get out of it. It's like you'll just stay in that depressive state if you don't put in any work.
So I have a list here of symptoms, I guess you could say, and you just tell me which ones jump out at you. Okay, or
by show of hands,
no, ranking of 1 to 5.
Just like yes, 5, no, yes, no, yes, no. I don't know. Or and then if you feel like adding something that's not on my list, then feel free. So craving carbs.
I'll rank that like a 3 on a 3 out of 5 scale.
I love bread.
I can't eat bread, so
I love muffins.
I go straight to the chocolate. Like, I buy the dark chocolate peanut butter cups at Trader Joe's, and I go through containers of them. Like, I'll go through a whole container, and it's like a container that big, like a week. Then I have to go get another one.
So let's see. So sleepiness. I think you already mentioned something of that.
That'll rank
sleepiness
at a 5.
For sure. Weight gain because you're craving carbs.
Well, also it's hibernation season. Like, we are little mammals. We're gonna eat a bunch, gain a bunch of weight, and then want to take a nap. But we have day jobs. Little mammals.
Sometimes I do
meant to hibernate, forced to work 9 to 5.
Sometimes I do wish I was born like a bear and could actually hibernate and have such a great time.
Just sleep.
I feel like you'd be a good bear, too.
Just be honoring.
Just hunt all the salmon, eat all the salmon and all the berries, and then just go, like, nap for 3 months, and then come back and do it all again. That sounds like an optimal life right there.
The other symptom, I think, on my list that I think will probably jump out at everyone is anxiety. I think that's probably might be the biggest one. Anxiety.
Yeah, and for me, that translates almost directly into increased irritability. That my anxiety gets harder to manage and to regulate. And
just annoyed.
So I'm just that much closer to being annoyed with things that normally I can be like, okay, that's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's fine. And then it's fine. But if I'm in my seasonal funk, it's a big deal.
I think, like, on top of that, also being a woman and having hormone fluctuations, on top of the increased anxiety and on top of the just increased, like, mood changes in general, also makes that irritability skyrocket. I get so easily frustrated with things that normally I'd have so much more patience with, and I'm just like, I'm not putting up with this. This actually is, like, filling me with rage, and I want to, like, strangle someone.
All right. No.
Yes, with all of my editing comments.
I've seen things. No. But the other part would be having social problems. So I would assume that means like isolating yourself, or like you were saying, like being irritated with people. So you got to be alone and nothing. But the problem is if you doom scroll, or you're watching some movie, some show, someone on the internet says something stupid,
Makes it worse.
you're still around people technically that way. So I think so. We've talked about what it looks like. Now, what about coping with it? That preparedness is a huge thing, I think. But what other type of things can people do to either prepare or like just? I don't want to say the word survive. You got to overcome this, right? But I think at some point people just want to survive this. So what other stuff do you guys think? The family, friends, activities, stuff like that.
Yeah, I would definitely say like leaning into your family and friends if you got them and they're around. Finding ways to get out of the house, go do something, even if it's by yourself. Just find a way to get out of the house. Walk around outside. Walk around if you live somewhere where you can't walk around outside. Go to some public place and walk around. Come to campus.
Go to a mall.
Go to a mall if you can. But also, all year long, there's stuff happening around on campus. If you see that there's an event, go to that event. Even if you don't know anybody, you'll meet somebody. And it just breaks you out of that funk a little bit.
I think for me, I have like a very specific approach to how I cope with mine, and unfortunately it's a specific approach that only works for basically 2.5 months, because I just get super invested in the holidays. Like, I will go full in on Christmas, which also just pisses people off, to be honest. But I'll start watching Christmas movies, making myself hot chocolate, like, making my life a little bit more whimsical.
What type of Christmas movies?
Any kind. I like rom-com Christmas movies, but I also like Home Alone,
like the super
Die Hard.
cheapy Hallmark ones?
No, not that. That's a little bit too much. That's a little bit like too predictable. I like to be like maybe a little bit surprised.
Okay. I like that you mentioned Die Hard. Thank you for that.
It is
that
a Christmas movie. Yes, just for you. The Polar Express is like my go-to comfort nostalgic Christmas movie, as much as the Uncanny Valley effect terrifies people. Which I understand more as an adult. As a kid, I was just like, it's so fun. Now as an adult, I'm like, I understand why this movie freaked people out.
Well, I'm noticing you're very festive today in your jewelry and outfit choices.
Yes.
That's also, like, a way, like, I cope with it, as well as, like, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get dressed, I'm gonna have fun with my outfit. And it's like, if it's around holidays, it's like, I'm gonna make everything a little bit holiday-themed. So, like, I have a collection of Christmas sweaters, I have a Christmas vest, I have a bunch of Christmas earrings, I have my little bow or things, and I'll just kind of try to, like, make my appearance more fun, put more effort into myself, because it also just makes, like, my self-esteem go up, like, if I'm putting effort into the way I look. And then the other thing I do is I love to give gifts to people. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, like, for me, Christmas shopping isn't necessarily, like, I don't really do the whole overconsumption thing. I'm very intentional about what I'm buying for people. And that's what makes me feel good about it, is like I'm buying things that I know they want or they'll use. Because I get to know my friends and my family well enough that it's just like, I don't even have to ask them what they want. Yeah, I know what they want. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's something I start planning months in advance. I do the Salvation Army Angel Tree every year at the mall. I go to South Hill. They have a tree. You can pick kids from, like, varying ages. It gives, like, their interests and things that are really high on their wish list. And I try to do, like, a couple kids a year. Like, I put money in my savings specifically so I can go do that. Because I'm just, like, for the people who, like, in the families that don't have the money to really have that kind of Christmas, I want to make sure they have the best kind of Christmas they can.
Yeah. I'll add to that, though, that if you don't have the money or the savings, there's also ways to donate your time, whether it's at the Humane Society or at the soup kitchen or on campus or wherever, even like members of your family, if you know someone's moving, if you know someone's going through something, there's ways to donate your time for free that help out all over the place.
What's do you know off the top of your head what the school has, what the campus has about like charities and stuff like that?
Yeah, so right now, they're doing a toy drive, and there's a couple of food drives active right now. Our pantry and our cupboard accept donations all the time, so if you have a bag of non-perishables you want to take to either location, they can divide that up and put that in their pools. But that toy drive goes until December 4th, I think. It might be the 2nd, but I think it's 4th. And you can bring in any unwrapped toys, and then families can pick them out and wrap them for their kids. So that's a really good one. I've been doing little art kits. I got a bunch of like cheap kind of art kits but they're for kids, so you can paint your own like lantern. Cool. And I'm excited about those being in it this year.
It'll be fun.
Well, I'm glad the school's participating, because I'm sure it's like throwing ourselves into charity might help a lot of it.
You can also host your own drive or your own charity event on campus.
Should we listen to the same music throughout the blues, or should we change it up?
I think it depends on what type of music you normally like default to, because sometimes I feel like, at least for me, it can be like almost beneficial in a way to kind of sit in the way I'm feeling and to maybe indulge in it, at least for a time. Don't let myself get like trapped in it. So like, I'll personally go to like Taylor Swift's Folklore and Evermore albums and like listen through both of those.
Those are good cold weather albums.
Because they're the perfect seasonal depression albums, but it's like, it's only good for as long as you want to like kind of ruminate in that and kind of just like process it in a way. Outside of that, it can be really hard, I feel like, at least for me, to listen to like really upbeat music when it comes to like winter. So I go full Christmas music because I'm just like, I can indulge myself in that because it's just like, it goes along with my whole thing for the holidays. It creates a vibe, and it's not just gonna immediately just make me want to sit in my thoughts and be sad forever.
Yeah. I think I agree that whether or not what you listen to helps you depends on what you listen to regularly, and also like the musics that you choose to explore when you're depressed might not be what you listen to regularly. I think what has helped me conceptualize like the role of capitalism in Christmas and in the holidays that we celebrate in America specifically are a lot of like holiday protest music that talk about that capitalistic nature and that talk about the holidays that should have been versus the holidays that are, and that talk about how many of our holidays were stolen. And so that grounds me in the reality of what the holiday is. But then I also like to explore holiday music that I haven't heard before, or just songs about winter that I hadn't heard before, or for me, a big one is songs about home and having a place to call home and connecting to a feeling of homeness and connection is one of my favorite ways to get through the winter season, because it reminds me that no matter where you are, there is a home for you. And that helps me to connect to what the season really, really is about, which is about that connection and about that community and family and friends.
I like audiobooks. So I listen to audiobooks all the time.
That's a good one, too.
Just get specifically fantasy stuff. I think during the holidays works great.
The Lord of the Rings is
the
holiday staple.
It goes without saying, but we must say. But my other favorite author's name is Jordan Donald. Actually, he wrote a fairy tale called The Princess and the Goblin, which is fantastic. It's like he has another book called Fantastes. It's another great book. But it's the whimsy in it, the innocence in it. There's no agenda in it. It's just kind of like, let's just watch this, whoever the character is, go through this like adventure. Mm-hmm. And I think that's for me. I throw myself into fantasy stuff. It's awesome. I know people that watch Harry Potter for the holidays to kind of cope with things.
I used to.
I know people that do that. I assume if people don't, might know why. But it's
that's a different podcast for a different
It's a guilty
time.
pleasure of mine too. I like Harry Potter, So
I think if you like already own the DVDs, it's like a different story.
Well, for me, I've gone through the books like a lot as well. Not as much as Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, but they're still some of my favorite ones because
Yeah.
it's like it's a great story, great writing.
And if you're a millennial at all, there's a very special place that Harry Potter has.
Very much so.
For so long, I feel like Harry Potter in particular represented something, and it's kind of just been completely tarnished by someone associated with the books.
We can talk about that on a different podcast.
Yes.
I would love to unpack that
It
more.
would be so much fun.
So yeah, I think changing up, maybe changing up the routine of what music, even books, listening to stuff like that.
Making art is a big one.
Making art, I think, that's
Making
a really
art,
good one.
like with
Getting
friends
really
or
into your
communities
hobbies.
Yeah, getting into your hobbies. I brought up the Lord of the Rings, so something I do kind of midwinter that I've turned into a tradition is I'll get all my friends together and we'll watch the extended editions of all of the Middle Earth filmography, and then we have a potluck where everyone brings in a Lord of the Rings related food. And then we all eat together, and it's not a holiday celebration, but it is sort of a celebration of that community and our friendship and how long we've been doing it. And that's just a little winter warming thing that helps me. It gives me something midwinter to look forward to, and then something to think back on in the following weeks as I prep for spring.
I think that's actually part of the reason I use the holidays as my coping mechanism, is because it's something to look forward to, and I have 2 months to do it. But that's why it only works until December and does not work for January and February, so that's when I have to kind of pursue other avenues.
You don't go all out for St. Patrick's Day?
Unfortunately, no. But normally what I used to do is I'd book a trip in March, and that would be what would get me through the rest. But I don't have that option this year, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit more creative about what I do in January and February. We'll do a follow-up to see how I'm doing.
We'll see.
If I've fallen apart.
That might be a podcast in the making. So I think the theme here is where you got to change up the routine. I think I also like changing my living space, moving stuff around. So I have 2 places where I spend most of my time. Obviously, my bedroom, because you sleep there. So I have my little corner, and I have stuff on my wall. I have comic books on my wall, and I made it specific. I put little shelves on there where they can stand up because I change them every now and again whenever I want to change or something. And then I also have my desk. My desk is the other place I spend most of my time. And so I have stuff decorated there too. So what I started doing this year specifically is I had my comic books up already on there, some of my favorite ones. But I started adding figurines to it, so action figures in front of, I don't know why I thought people were dumb for doing that, but there's something about it that just...
It's cute.
It makes it more special to me. I don't know. It's just, I can't live without it now.
It gives it more personality.
It's like the character jumping out of the book at you, or something like that. So I found that kind of interesting that I felt that way about it. But it's fun as well. You get to pose them, and so like that, which is fun too. But rearranging plants, rearranging stuff like that, I think you can really benefit from getting out of the funk. Getting out of these blues. Even if it happens, they're still got to find a way to get out of it. So. We talked about what it is. We've talked about patterns of what it looks like. Maybe somebody doesn't know. The other part would be what are bad coping behaviors for it. Abusing, I think without saying, but we gotta say abusing or excessive use of drugs and alcohol can really lead you down the wrong path. Overeating. Or not eating at all, doom scrolling. I have a whole list here.
We talked about isolating.
Isolating, I think, is the
yourself.
biggest one.
And you're doing that on purpose.
Yeah. Or even if you're not doing it on purpose, because if you aren't super used to checking in with yourself about that could be something that you're doing self-consciously. And I would add to the healthy coping strategies, if you let your friends know that this is something that impacts you every year, and to make an effort to reach out to you more, or if they haven't heard from you in a couple of days, just shoot you a text. That helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Is it hey, this thing happens to me every winter. It's not a big deal. I'll make it through. Just reach out to me a couple more times than you normally would. It's easy conversation.
I think plugging yourself into community is a healthy thing. So, spiritual events, do family stuff like we talked at the beginning.
Music events.
Friends, music events, go to concerts, go to plays. There's Nutcracker plays every year. It's,
Yes.
you know, it's
Celebrate the arts.
It's a beautiful thing.
during
There's
the winter.
plays all the time. Everywhere in Tacoma, Seattle, there's a bunch of places that have shows. I'm taking my kids for the first time to see Zoo Lights. They've never been, and it's going to be an experience for them. That's something fun to look forward to. It's not a big deal for me, but you know,
but it'll be a big deal for them.
Yes,
and, like,
and I'm
that's
okay
important.
with that, and I'm okay with that. The other part about isolation, we should bring up pornography. Speaking of doom scrolling, that's definitely
a
huge one. So don't be a perv. No, don't doom scroll and watch that stuff. It's not good for your mind, soul, health.
And that goes for year round. That's not
That
just
goes for year
exclusive.
round. Reach out to a real
Around.
person.
Yeah.
But being locked in and having those chronic internet use of using it is not really a positive thing, and that can come with isolation. So I think all of these things that I have on here really have to do with just being by yourself. You got to find something to do, and what else you're going to find to do other than bad stuff to yourself. So people, you guys mentioned something about people being aware and not aware of what they have. I mean, does being aware matter of this is the thing, because it still hits you, and that's why I'm asking. It's like, it's I guess maybe it should matter, it does matter, because you can prepare. But how much can you really prepare? Because every day looks different, I'm assuming, right? You don't just, maybe some days it hits you harder and others it doesn't.
Yeah. It's trial and error, and the strategies that I have come from many years of error. And then you eventually sort of figure out. For me, I started to figure out what it felt like in my body, what my eating patterns looked like. And mostly, it was because in the winter, I get really short with people. I get really irritable. And that is something that has cost me a lot in my life. And eventually I just noticed that it gets worse in the winter. It gets worse when I'm neglecting myself. When I'm not eating, I'm more irritable, and those two things are linked. When I'm not sleeping, I'm more irritable, and that is linked. When I'm oversleeping, I'm more irritable. So all of those things started to tie into each other, and as more and more seasons passed, I was like, these are the things I'm noticing every season about myself, and these are the things that I can prepare for. I bring a non-perishable lunch just leave in my desk or leave in my bag, and then when I need to eat something during the day, I'll dig into it. Reaching out to friends is a big one. But I think awareness helps because, yes, it is going to happen either way, but awareness keeps you from being caught by surprise by those things that can sometimes be pretty life-ruining. If you're irritable with the wrong person, especially when we're in higher education and we're all doing our internships and everything, it can be really bad. So just having that, mood emergency kit on hand at any time comes from awareness. But I will say being self-aware does not make it easier to be depressed.
In some scenarios, I feel like being self-aware makes it more difficult because it's like you know that you just inherently have this problem. And sometimes it just feels like it's this thing that you can't even touch, you don't even know how to start. Because it's like, you have the problem, you have the tools, you don't even know where to begin using them to start breaking it down and making things a little bit easier for you. As for those who might not be aware, but maybe kind of connect with some of the things that we've been saying throughout this, is really do a mental check-in with yourself and see what you're noticing, what might be different from the way you act throughout the rest of the year, or even if you're just noticing general depression symptoms. It's check in on that and see how it's impacting you, and see if it's something where you're you need to start seeking out professional help for it, because really getting it treated sooner rather than later is really going to save you so much in the long run.
One of the things I wanted to mention on this podcast is if you haven't identified that you have depression or seasonal depression, or if you have and you would just like a little bit of extra help with it, UW Tacoma has a service called Pause, which is our our psychological counselors and assistants that help us as students. You can make same-day appointments, and then once you've made a same-day appointment, you can see them relatively regularly. They don't do emergency services, but you can schedule an appointment for Monday or Tuesday between 11 and 1:30, or for Wednesday and Thursday from 12 p.m. to 2:30. There's also a phone number you can find online, but they will help with anything from depression to class issues to motivation issues to behavioral issues. All you need is your name, your student ID, and your contact information, and there will be someone on campus who can help you.
You gotta participate actively in all of
Yes.
this. I think this is why we're doing this too.
It's free. It's a service we pay for through our student fees. So take advantage of it this winter, and we're all here for each other.
Let's not be sad this year.
Let's not be sad this year.
That's the hope, at least. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. All
Right on. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.